Alright, so we're taking another look at the NewBeeDrone AcroBee75 O3, and when I did the original video, I think about 3 months ago, I think it was in August, there was a sample they sent me that they let me borrow that had a full-size air unit, not a stripped-down one, and that one weighed, I think around 70 grams, and this one weighs quite a bit less, it's like 20 grams less, I believe. But what they did send me here was the kit version. So basically you get the whole quad, the whole Cineweb, pretty much pre-built, and they have this cage on top, and all you have to do is add your own O3 air unit, in which in this case I added a naked O3 air unit, but otherwise it's going to be identical to the full-size one with the O3 already built in, except you're just adding your own. I guess they're doing this for people that maybe have their own O3 air unit from another quad, and then maybe they're tired of that one and they want to move it over to this one. That's probably the ideal scenario, instead of just buying the whole thing pre-built. So in the kit, you get a couple of extra cages. So you get 3 total, the one's already on there. Get a spare set of the ASI 40mm props, and then you also get these whip antennas. I actually had some already on here from a previous build, so that's why I didn't use these. Get some documentation on the drone, and they're saying to use Rocksteady. I actually used GyroFlow in the stabilized footage, and the camera that I'm using here is actually the one from AliExpress that I posted over on my second channel. So I won't get into all that in this video, but if you want to, I'll link in. I want to watch it, I'll link into the video description. Basically, there's a lot of controversy about these replacement O3 cameras on AliExpress. Some people say they work, some people say they don't work. Mine works. I get a camera calibration error that I can't get rid of, but it doesn't seem to affect anything. And you'll see later in the stabilized GyroFlow footage, it seems totally fine. All you see is the calibration error in the goggles, but the camera seems to work otherwise, and I can't. If you look at the footage, you can't tell any difference in terms of, it doesn't look any different from anything else that doesn't have that error. So you can look at the footage, judge for yourself. I got this camera for, I think, $25 plus shipping and tax. And then I picked up this air unit from Amazon for like $169 and then stripped it down. So that's how this ended up in here. So this build here is quite a bit lighter. It's coming in at 52.4, so I think the original with a full-size air unit was like around, I think 70, a little over 70 grams. And then with the battery, I think it was like 96, 97 grams. So then with this battery here, says I flew with a Beta FPV 2S450, and this total all-up weight now comes in at 79.7, so almost 20 grams less than the setup that you saw flown in the previous video, the first one. And so if you want to see how this thing flies with a full-size air unit, you can go and watch the previous video, which I'll link in the video description. This flies, I think, well, it flies a lot longer for one thing. With a full-size air unit, this flew for about 3 minutes with a different battery. It was a Tattoo R-Line. And with this setup here, much lighter on this Beta FPV 2S battery, I get about 4 minutes. So I think that's that's a 33% improvement in flight time. And I didn't even push this battery that much. I could have probably flown a little bit more. And that's sort of the advantage of going a lot lighter, is you can fly a lot longer on the same battery. You got a lot more flight time. Now, I think that they tuned this for the weight of a full-size air unit and that R-Line battery, as you saw in their previous video. So I feel like in the DVR footage, I get a little bit more wobbles, even though there's not a lot of wind. I don't know. It's just it's probably anecdotal. I honestly, didn't get to fly the original that much, so I'm just kind of basing it on very few flights of the original, but this one seems to have a little bit more wobbles. Now, of course, those little tiny wobbles and shakes are completely gone. You can't see it after it's been stabilized in GyroFlow, but I just noticed that it's been tuned for the heavier setup. So if you do go this route and go with this lighter setup here, you might want to adjust the PIDs. I didn't adjust the PIDs. I think they're the same as for the full-size air unit. So I wanted to see how it flew on that. I could tell there's a little bit of a difference. It's not terrible, but I could just tell in terms of the flight feel on the sticks. And but in terms of stabilized footage, once you've been once the footage has gone through gyroflow, it looks completely perfect. And I did fly it this time on a really sunny day, no clouds, no ND filter. I just used the UV filter here from Flywoo, and very little jello. Now I did make one other modification that I just remembered now. I added these little, it's kind of hard to see, but these blue silicone O-rings right here. So normally when you get this cage sits on top of the prop guard, right on that duct. So all these vibrations from the motors, they'll go through to this plastic here, and then through this here, and then this is also going to hit some of the vibrations and goes right into the camera. So I added a little bit of a silicone O-ring here that this cage is sitting on. Now this cage is still touching the little plastic part that the O-ring is surrounding, so it's not completely isolated, but I think this helps a lot. So the footage seems good enough. You know, it's a nice sunny day. I don't even have an ND filter, and I mean, you can occasionally see a few shakes, and you can, for the user with sharp eyes, let me know in the comments below exactly where you saw those. I'll link the full flights down in the video description. I've already probably launched them over on my second channel. But yeah, for those of you with eagle eyes, let me know where you saw the shakes. I saw a couple of them, but for the most part over the 4 minutes, it was pretty clean. And I did not even have an ND filter. I think that it would be even cleaner if I put the ND filter on. But, you know, this whole setup here, I did try to minimize the shakes as much as possible. In terms of mounting the naked O3 air unit, you can take a look here. And I didn't use anything. I just stuck it in there. It actually is loose in the cage here, but it's not going to come out. Because you have to get it in here, you have to kind of manipulate. You kind of have to get it in an angle. So the only way you can get it out is if you actually take the cage off of the quad. And then what I did is I stuck just some foam under here to hold it up over the bottom of the cage. And it's just this kind of foam, like this looks like this here. Not too dense. And that's what it just basically holds it up by friction to the top. And it keeps it cool. And you just, of course, just plug in the back. That seems to be fine. I don't think even in a crash it'll come out, because you can see I can actually hold the air unit like this, shake the quad. It's not going anywhere. It's in there pretty good. And then I just have the antennas coming out of the side here, and then this little part of the cage is holding the antenna on. And I did create this little 3D printed part to move the camera forward. You could use the Flywoo camera mounts and the I guess the O3 air unit, I guess the light cage for that O3 air unit from Flywoo. It looks like this. This is the, I did a video on this as well. I'll link it in the video description. So I opted not to use this just to save extra weight, because my priority was flight time over the protection. And then I just created this extra 3D printed part here that holds the camera, because I wanted to move the camera forward. If you use the Flywoo part, the camera is going to sit kind of back here, and then you're going to see the Express LRS antenna and then the front of the ducts in the camera views. So this is purely optional, of course. You know, I just wanted to get the stuff out of the view of the camera, so you have to do this to move it forward. Now I actually used the original coax cable here from the camera to the O3 air unit, because I don't have any more of the 60 millimeter ones, the shorter ones. I ran out of those. So actually you could probably get the weight down a few more grams by replacing this cable for the shorter one. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this guy. I think it turned out pretty well. I'll put the links to the stabilized gyroflow footage down in the video description, the DVR footage if you want to see that. You know, a lot of advantages to going with the stripped down air unit is, you know, you get a lot more flight time. Probably need to do a little bit of a pid tune to adjust for that. And then my tip here is to put some O-rings here to just isolate that vibrations a little bit more from the prop guards and the motors. And I think you're going to be good for this one. And it's a pretty reasonable price for, I think, for this kit without the O3 unit. So check the link down in the video description. I think if you're looking for something of this size with 4 minutes of flight time, and with stabilized gyro flow 4K footage. Not a lot of options in this class other than you have to sort of build everything from scratch. This one, you don't have to do that. It's actually really simple to put together. It's all built, ready to go. You just have to strip down your O3 air unit and stick it in there like I did, and you're off and running. Okay, that's going to cover for this video. Got any questions, let me know. Talk to you guys in the next one.